So we have 12 minutes to restart this because it's the wrong it's the wrong number. It's the wrong number. And I know this isn't how you're supposed to cast on, but frankly, I do not. If we get started tonight, that's all I can ask for, really. This is the only stitch counter I have. I did not have it on Friday. And it is too small to fit on the needles because the one that does fit is currently commandeered for another project. Yeah. Yeah. It's rough. So, what we're going to do, and which I don't know if I said last time, is we're aiming for 20. Did that just. Yep, it did. It flipped round. You don't need to be in there. Am I doing this wrong? To. So you know we're fine. So we're doing 20 stitches and do not know how many rows at this point. Like I said, I tried to do a headband for Mum, and it did not work out. And I think if I can just find that, and I can kind of get the length. That was in DK and this is in Aran. It's my first time knitting with Aran and I don't really know what the difference is so far. The last time I showed you this, I had actually restarted it. And as you can see, progress is a lot more slow going than I expected. Joint pain, chronic fatigue, just, it's not going well. I started this book with an abundance of caution. It is always a little bit fraught when the person doing this kind of ethnographic research is Han. And I don't know that for certain, but bearing in mind that it could be, especially given I think about a decade ago, there was at least lip service to like, oh, our great diverse nation, but more recently it has taken to kind of rigidly imposing dominant Han culture and dress and all that on the country. And yeah, it's a little bit fraught. a lot, bit fraught. I'm not saying that the book is in the clear, but the introduction did make me emotional. The author wrote about, growing up during the Cultural Revolution and everyone was in those suits and they were drab and grey in uniform, and then he got sent off to do hard labour, and suddenly he was surrounded by people wearing like their ethnic clothes, and it was colourful and bright and accessorised, and yeah, it might have nearly made me cry, but we're also like, as you can probably tell, really tired, so it's not that hard right now. In that vein, I also like that it is honest about like the ethnic names that they use for the people being transliterated from the Mandarin, but also that even among like the Miao group, there are different. It talks about how there are 56 recognised minority groups, and even among those groups, there are different branches. Yeah.
Trying very, very hard to put the stitches back onto the other needle. This has never gone well for me, and I'm really not good at like putting them on in the correct way. But I also don't know how we went from 20 to 19, so
I was so sure that it was only in the last row that I went from 20 stitches to 19 stitches, but I've taken back 4 rows now, and we're still at 19. And as I was doing it this time, in utter despair, I noticed this little bit. See the bit that's sticking up? I think that might be the dropped stitch. Do you see how far down that is? At this point, I think, because I don't want the whole thing to unravel because of a drop stitch, I think I'm just going to have to start again, which...
So we've got 21 in the row, and I don't understand.
Let's hope that third time is the charm. Oh dear. Immediately. It's fine. It's fine.
Third time was not the charm at all, but at least it's getting back on, so we're not restarting it.
I put it back on the wrong needle. I think, as you have probably been able to guess, we're not finishing this today. So, failure of a readathon for me. There's still, yeah, I'm not going to finish the book either. There's too much. There's just too much. Oh, don't skip that one.
Okay, before I entirely throw in the towel, I would like to point out that there was some really, really beautiful landscape photography in the book. Hi, and welcome to my bad lighting. I really wanted to redecorate my room in the style of Hadestown, and I didn't realise that a bronze lampshade would change the light because I'm an idiot. I enjoyed the book a lot more than I thought I would. I really like the 4 sections of birth, coming of age, marriage, and death. It was a little bit frustrating, I guess, that we didn't focus on the same groups throughout. So the oh boy, I can't read the tones. That's too far away. The Muso only appear in the section for marriage. Also, okay, I'm trying not to. Okay, so we're going to go with this bit because it's the most fraught of it all. They included Taiwanese Aboriginal people, which I'm glad more people will learn that these groups exist. I think it is a little bit fraught to include Taiwan in a book called China Adorned. But like, I don't want to step into any more than that. Likewise, Xinjiang is included. And of that, I will say it literally translates to New Frontier. So anyone who wants to be like, oh, this is an ancient part of China, it's not. And the only group included from that region are Kazakhs, who do live there, yes. But we know what's happening there, and I'm not saying it would have been better to include them, but yeah, like I said, fraught. One last more negative thing, there aren't dates on the newer photographs, and I was wrong about the past ones. They weren't just like 80s and 90s. I think it goes up to 2006. And I really loved the detail in them, the locations, the year, the photographer when that was applicable. So to not have that in the more recent photos felt really noticeable. And I just wish, that there was a little bit more detail. I really loved that there were sections at the end on where they live, so you got to see like the architecture of their homes, of the different groups. Again, they're more modern photos, so lacking in detail. But there was also a photography section on textiles and embroidery that was so lovely. And also a little, I think 2-3 page spread on indigo dyeing, which was really nice. Overall, I think it's quite an informative book. It's really so beautiful. I'm really glad I have it. I'm going to enjoy flipping through it. I think it's really worth your time if you're interested in the subject.